Ladies and gentlemen, we're back for some more back content. I don't know if you just saw what was happening, but my cat's developing this weird habit of just like staring into the mirror right there. And so maybe she'll do that the whole video. That'd be so funny. But anyways, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing some back content here. I guess Luna is the star of the show today as well. So just gonna do a quick plug, okay? Uh, Yamikage, my first novel, so wonderful, so good, so amazing. Bright, Dreadful Sun, my third novel, so wonderful. This is about my experience with epilepsy, kind of allegorized in a way. It's allegorical through a character named Mason. Not every star tonight. Oh my goodness. So 5-star beta reader. Let's keep it at 5 stars, ladies and gentlemen. Ghostwriter, editor. Oh my goodness. I got the whole spectrum up here. But also, first and foremost, a psychology major, license. So one thing I love doing is applying psychology to writing, okay? So with that being said, what are we doing here? It's batch content. We did teenagers. We did young adults. We did adults. But now what are we doing next? Oh my goodness. We are going to the senior leaders. Our last stop, which is ego integrity versus what? Despair. Oh my goodness. So with this being said, like, dude, if you're writing human or human-like characters, they're gonna have human or human-like psychology. So it's best, and like I said in the other 3 videos, I think it was Socrates, I think it might have been Aristotle, one of the other ones, know thyself. Because when you understand yourself, when you understand the psychosocial stages of life, you know your own challenges, and then you could apply it to the characters you write, and then make them more genuine, make them more relatable, make them more memorable. So with that being said, so what are we doing? Ego integrity. What does that mean? So when you're old, I'll try to keep this one a little bit younger, or younger, a little bit shorter. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that is the same thing. But when you're old, you've got ego integrity, which is basically like, I lived a fine, fond life. I contributed to society. Maybe I found intimacy at the right time. Maybe I found the right identity. And you're just satisfied with life and you're okay with dying. And I was using Star Wars. I always use Star Wars, and it's not even a novel. I use Harry Potter too sometimes. But what was I gonna say? Yeah. So back to ego integrity. Obi-Wan Kenobi was like that. So in the first Star Wars movie, I believe, he's that senior citizen, and then he sees Luke Skywalker, and he's like, bruh, like, I did what I had to do. Now it's your turn. I'm gonna keep on moving. And then, he dies. Sorry, guy. It's good to kill off a character sometimes, too. Because these senior citizen characters are often great real estate. They're great real estate agents to kind of just fire, because they're already done. People are going to be like, whatever. You know what I mean? Sometimes. Or maybe sometimes they're just so lovable that it just, I don't know. But anyways, the challenge at this stage is despair versus integrity. I'm not Googling. This is where my camera's right there, but I'm looking at myself right here. I don't know why, because I was writing, and I think I'm just glued to this thing. But yeah, this is not Google or anything. So integrity, just off the dome. What does integrity mean? It means you're satisfied with yourself. You're happy with yourself. You did what you had to do. And this happens after generativity. Like I coined them. It's not called this, but I coined in the pillars. Like I said, because I love Kabbalah. So we got the Boaz and Johim, which is terms that you don't need to know, but basically the good side and the bad side. So ego integrity is kind of like the good, you made it. You did the right thing at the psychosocial stage. Despair is the opposite, where like, whoopsie. And all the other psychosocial stages that come earlier, man, they build on each other. They're like a staircase. And once you, like, let's say during a teenager, like you have a lot of role confusion, then that becomes like a hole in the staircase, a crutch that you have to carry with you your whole life. And a lot of this, like I said with the other videos, all Freudian psychology, heavy emphasis on the young childhood years, whereas Erickson is so nice that he did all the stages of life. I might do Howard Gardner. We'll see. Probably not. Well, maybe. I love Howard Gardner. Erickson's a psychologist that mapped all this stuff out after having patients of all different types, and it's so awesome. Anyways, the point is, if you're writing old characters, okay, you want to give them integrity, or you want to give them despair. So a lot of times we have like a lot of, and this is what I was also touching up, there's a lot of like odd characters that people write, and then they just have the wrong challenges. They don't understand, like there's a lot of like, I don't know, there's role confusion in adulthood. Oh my goodness, the camera died. All right, I'm not gonna clip that out. Okay, I'm not gonna do it. But anyways, maybe I will. Maybe I should be more professional and actually clip out the nonsense. Anyways, but I'm not going to because I don't want to. Because I want to keep this video under 10 minutes. So I don't know if this. Yeah, it's still recording. What we're talking about: ego, integrity versus despair. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, when you become an old person, what is your challenge in that stage of life? It's being happy with yourself. It's being like satisfied. And when you're old, you have this neurological decay that happens. The gray matter is basically decreasing as opposed to increasing, which happens in solidifies at young adulthood and just increases throughout life. But when you're old, you don't have that type of a logic to lean on all the time. Okay, so it's degenerating. So with that being said, that's also a major challenge from a senior citizen as well. They have that neurodegeneration. So with that being said, that also has a lot to do with ego integrity. It also has a lot to do with despair. Because sometimes you could be old and understand your mortality. And that's where a lot of these despair challenges come from. It's kind of like the old person that like, oh, you know, I didn't do what I wanted to do in life. And that's the challenge. Like when you're old, you might be like, bruh, like I could have been a fucking rocket guy or something. It could have been Rocket Man, like Elton John. But no, you didn't do it. So like now you're feeling despair. And this is the last stop on the train. So a lot of times the challenge here, especially when you're writing an old time character, an old timer, you want them to fight despair. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't always have like sword wielding antagonists. You, I, everybody has true antagonists, and they're basically ourselves. You know what I mean? It's the programming inside our minds that we're constantly fighting. Those are our true antagonists in life. So with that being said, you got to defeat them. There's no reason you can't not defeat them. You could do it. So with that being said, it's also good to set yourself up for success. Like maybe like now I'm in adulthood. So with that being said, now I'm generativity. It's good to give back. Okay. And that's where you can set yourself up for success in senior citizen years is being by integral, using your generativity to help other people. So when you become old, you're like, you know, I didn't do nothing. You know what I mean? I'm not making fun of everybody, but you know what I mean? That's just how things go, you know, so you need integrity in your life. And if you build up that stuff now, when you get to senior years, when the neurological decay is in order, you won't have to make these phenomenal big paradigm shifts. But here's the thing, if you're writing an old time protagonist or even an antagonist, it's really hard to change the paradigm once you get to adulthood. It just becomes harder and harder and harder. So especially with, like I said, the neurological decay, it's really hard to change these paradigms. That's why they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. People are set in their ways, you know, and that's kind of what happens is when you're just these old timers, they're stuck. It's harder to change the paradigm. But like I said, set your characters up for success. An ego integrity senior citizen is one of the best people to learn from, no matter what stage of life you're in. If you can find a senior citizen that has ego integrity and you can see it in their face, you know what I mean? That is somebody you want to latch onto. That is somebody you want to contribute to because that is a wealth of information. So if you know any, you know, old timers or anything, you know, go ahead and give them that extra time a day. I know they could be very frustrating to work with sometimes, you know what I mean? But don't belittle them. Don't what's the word here? Don't underestimate them because an ego integrity solidified senior citizen is the fruit of the earth. You know what I mean? Like it's maybe not fruit of the earth because they may be decaying. They are the salt. No. The other people are salt of the earth. They're just they're good. You know what I mean? There are good people to learn from. So with that being said, if you're writing a protagonist that is old, ego integrity is important. They're not looking for isolation versus intimacy. They may be isolated because they didn't understand the stage of life. They didn't find intimacy in helping other people. They didn't find intimacy in a life partner or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I said, each and every stage of development has their crutch or their kind of like their boost. You know what I mean? If you succeed, it's almost like a little video game. It's like it is kind of polarized. It is kind of binary. It's you succeed or you lose. There is wiggle room, but you see it all the time. Sometimes something bad happened in childhood. They bring it all the way through every single stage of their life, and that it's just crutch after crutch after crutch. And by the time you become a senior citizen, it's just despair. But likewise, you can change. Up until now, up to senior citizen, even there's wiggle room there. It's really hard to change once you get past adulthood or even in the midst of adulthood. But that's the big challenge. And I think you can write that. You can definitely write that down. So know thyself, you know what I mean? And know thyself and like and subscribe because that's what you got to do. Because I'm not here for me. I'm here for you. And yeah, I'm just writing from the heart here. I'm just saying from the heart. I really want you guys to write good characters.